how are you? Welcome to the Etiquette e Protocolo channel. I'm Juliana, and in today's video we're going to talk a little more about etiquette at year-end parties. The end of the year has arrived, and with that, we have the opportunity to meet several people at Christmas parties, gatherings, and get-togethers. Whether it's with your company, friends, family, or even New Year's Eve parties, year-end celebrations, or Réveillon, and so on. The last month of the year is full of events for us to take part in, and with that, we have the chance to socialize, meet lots of people, and talk to many people. And with that comes the behavioral aspect and the best practices we can apply in this kind of context and situation. So, with that in mind, I've put together some important points for you to pay attention to regarding your behavior and the way you act. Also, how do you deal with this kind of event that's going to happen now at the end of the year? It's also important for us to remember that we went through a period of isolation. So many people we're seeing again now. Sometimes we went a long time without seeing them, a long time without meeting up. So it's also important for us to have a little bit of patience, a little bit of sensitivity, a little bit of empathy, especially when meeting people you don't really like that much, because that's where it gets more difficult. Meeting and reconnecting with people we like, people we have a special affection for, is much easier. So, you know that uncle who sometimes comes up with those old jokes like the famous one, is it to look at or to eat? You know, those jokes that sometimes you just don't have the patience for? It's important right now for us to have a little more kindness in these kinds of situations. So, I've put together some tips here that will definitely make all the difference for you to really shine socially in this context now at the end of the year. The first point is to respect the event's arrangements. So, for example, if it's a get-together with friends where each person is responsible for bringing a dish or some food, it's important for you to participate, understand this context, and respect this format. So there's no point in wanting to be the odd one out when everyone agreed to bring a dish and it was assigned by drawing lots. And you keep raising concerns or even bringing up topics that will make organizing that event a little more difficult. Of course, you can give your opinion to help make that event, that gathering, a more enjoyable and pleasant moment among your friends or family. But it's also important for you to understand that many times what the majority wants may not be what you want to do. So it's important to respect the group as a whole. So respect the event setup, for example. What time is the event? What will the format be? Will it be an event with a full menu, an appetizer, main course, and dessert? Will there be alcoholic drinks or not? How will everything be organized? Where will the event take place? Do you need to bring a gift? Will there be a secret Santa? So all your participation and involvement in that event for that occasion really makes a difference in how you are perceived there in the group. Whether it's a family group, a group of friends, or a work group. So if someone is there bringing up the idea of organizing or doing something, share your ideas, of course, and make your points. But unfortunately, if your idea doesn't match the majority, adapt yourself. It's important for us to understand the situation a little and take part, and also show that you're participating. This is essential for us to be able to get along well in a society. Another point is also to respect the event's schedule. If there's an event, there are people who arrive late. That's normal in our culture. Many times we schedule an event for 1 in the afternoon, like lunch, and sometimes people want to arrive at 3 in the afternoon. So if you're going to be late, it's important that you let people know beforehand. That way, for example, people won't be left waiting around for you. Also, it's no use arriving too early, because if the event was scheduled to start at 1, 1:30 or 2 o'clock, at a lunch, for example, it's important that you stick to the agreed time. So always pay attention to the event schedule, the time, and how it's going to be organized and arranged. For example, even if this party is a year-end celebration, If there's a secret Santa, for example, and you arrive at 3 in the afternoon to a lunch that started at 1, will you be able to take part in the secret Santa? Is it really a good idea for you to put your name in with your little piece of paper in that group? Wouldn't it be better for you to just leave it and stay out of the game? So it's important for you to consider all of this, because delays, especially in events with a lot of organization and a lot going on, especially end of year parties, right? Sometimes we have the Christmas dinner, the moment of giving presents. It's nice if you can't make it to let people know in advance and prepare them, because otherwise it can be really rude. Imagine yourself in this situation. You draw someone's name in Secret Santa, then that person doesn't show up to the event, and the person you picked also ends up without a present. So it's a bit awkward for the whole group. Not to mention that people might be waiting for you to serve dinner, to have the meal together, especially if there's a main course or something like that. So always think about other people. That's a really good way to be. It's well regarded in the group when we put other people first, when we prioritize and pay attention to others. And in a way, people really like to feel important. They like to notice the affection that others have for them. In general, we human beings really like that. So when we notice that someone else is putting us in a position of importance, right, of affection, of attention, this is fundamental, and it really strengthens the relationship between you and the other person. Another key part of holiday gatherings is offering to help. Usually year-end parties can happen in a different context than traditional gatherings. Let's put it that way. Usually someone is offering their house, but each person is bringing a dish, each person is contributing. Sometimes that's even the case. With a small contribution toward the gathering year-end parties, these get-togethers, they happen in many different ways. That's why it's important for you to help the person who is offering their home the space for that celebration to happen. Of course, it can happen, for example, that your company's year-end party is fully organized and your company is 100% responsible for everything that's happening there. But showing up and offering help is very important in any situation. When you're invited to someone's house or to a party anyway, always remember to offer help. But it's important for us to emphasize here that offering help is different from insisting, or being pushy at someone's house or at a party, or getting too involved in organizing someone else's event. It's when you start doing things without asking the person or checking if your help is actually needed. So every time you want to help someone, it's important to go to the host or the owner of the place or the person responsible for the event, the one organizing it, and ask, "Hey, how can I help you? What can I do to assist you?" Then this person or the host responsible for the gathering or get-together will let you know if your help will be welcome or not. Because many times we want to help, but our help either really isn't needed, we need to understand that, or the person prefers to spare you, doesn't want to give you any kind of work, and wants you to enjoy the event. Anyway, so it's important for us to be present, but not to come across as pushy or start messing with things without asking for permission. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this holiday season we're going to have different kinds of gatherings. Many times you'll meet people you don't even know at your company's gatherings. For example, you'll see people you've never met before. Sometimes you'll see family members you haven't seen in a long time, dear friends or not so dear friends that you haven't seen in a long time. Actually, dear friends don't really exist. They're just colleagues, right? When you don't consider someone very close, they're not really a friend. They're more of a colleague or an acquaintance. But anyway, regardless of the level of friendship, every time you're at an event, whether it's an end-of-year gathering or any kind of event, it's essential for you to be a sociable person. So there are people you like more and you enjoy talking to those people more. That's natural. Everyone has preferences. Everyone likes one person more than another. Yeah, we always sometimes like yellow more than red. So in a group, there will be people you like more and people you like less, but it's essential for you to be sociable. So don't go around creating little groups, forming cliques, or having side conversations. Whenever possible, talk to everyone and try to exchange experiences with the other people present. Especially at year-end parties where there are a lot of people involved, whether they're family gatherings or company events. Sometimes you arrive at the company's year-end party and you don't really feel like talking to other people. But this is an excellent opportunity for you to be sociable, even to network and meet other people. And when it comes to family, that's also essential. Sometimes there's someone there you haven't seen in a long time, but you might end up sharing experiences with them and opening doors and creating opportunities for yourself. Whenever we talk about year-end parties, we also talk about activities, whether that's Secret Santa or some other kind of activity that happens at that event. If you're someone who doesn't really like it, I think it's a good idea for you to take a moment to assess it. So your level, right, of how much you don't like to participate in the game. I know that sometimes it can be hard for you to want to participate in something you're not so used to. Maybe you've had a traumatic experience in a Secret Santa years ago and it was horrible for you. But when the group suggests a game, it's important for us to make an effort to take part because that helps us be present. Right there, it could be there, in that moment. Naquela sociedade. In that context, it often ends up being pleasant and sometimes it can even be a positive surprise. Now, if you don't feel comfortable taking part in these games, of course, no one is going to force you or make you participate. But also, don't be the person who creates, side activities so other people don't take part in the game either. Sometimes you don't like to take part in Secret Santa, for example, but you end up, encouraging several other people close to you not to take part in Secret Santa either. So if you don't feel comfortable, just keep your decision about participating in Secret Santa to yourself. But remember that sometimes it can be interesting to make a little effort to try one more time. It's important for us to have a bit of resilience and a little patience there as well. With the games and the situations suggested, of course, if they make sense and are in line with the things you think and believe in. Still on the topic of games, another fundamental point I want to highlight in this video is the issue of rituals. Many times we go to end-of-year events. Yes, especially sometimes New Year's Eve parties or even Christmas. Sometimes there's a moment for a prayer, a moment for a specific ritual, and many times we're included in that situation. But we don't really appreciate or like that kind of ritual, that kind of celebration, that kind of prayer or something like that. In this context, it's essential that you show respect and don't mock or criticize if you're in an environment where people appreciate that kind of ritual. So when you're in a situation that involves a ritual, if you don't really understand that ritual, ask questions. Sometimes it's also interesting to do some research. Sometimes you're going to spend Christmas with a family that has a certain religion, so try to integrate a little more and respect the rituals created in that context. Because this is a moment full of life, right? A moment of a lot of gratitude, a lot of celebration, where we acknowledge our achievements and give thanks. And each person likes to enjoy and cherish this moment by doing a specific ritual, so respect this moment. Now, I want to know from you, which of these practices do you think people make the most mistakes in? Mistakes that people make the most? Write down below which of these points you believe people need to improve on. And if you have an end-of-year party group, go ahead and send this video to your WhatsApp group. I'm sure people will love to watch and learn a little more about how to socialize at end-of-year parties. Well, I'll stop here. Thank you so much and see you in the next video.